Our next keynote explores Indonesia's investment story. Why now and why here? And please join me in welcoming Mr. Cahyo Purnomo as the Director of Investment Promotions for East Asia, South Asia, Middle East and Africa, the Ministry of Investment and Downstream Industry or BKPM. Stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak. Pak Ilham, we met again last month. We were in Baku attending the ISDB annual meetings. Selamat pagi, good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First and foremost, I'd like to express our appreciation for Trescon for inviting us. It's always a pleasure for us at the Ministry of Investment and Downstream Industry to basically, share our latest investment policy and opportunities. And, in this regard, of course, talking about Finance 2045, of course, earlier speakers have shared their thoughts and ideas. So from us, what we would like to focus and, prioritize is on the Indonesia investment story. Why now, why here? So I think some of you, or if not most of you, are fully aware why foreign direct investment needs a boost. I think everybody now is talking about a lot of things, why our stock market is not performing so well, why rupiah keeps weakening and things like that. So everybody now is now talking about whether FDI can play a role. In fact, indeed, there are many countries around the world, not only developing economies, but even developed economies. Basically, they are working hard to make sure that they can attract investment, into their country. And of course, for Indonesia, definitely FDI play a key role in basically, contributing as a key part of our economic growth. So talking about why a country like Indonesia is basically willing to go extra mile when it comes to how can we attract more investment, particularly in certain sectors. And of course, we understand, why certain investors are looking into certain countries to basically exploring the investment opportunities. And of course, from our side, we also need to understand what are actually our obligations. So not only in doing what we can to attract investment, but we need to understand. And, talking about our obligation, of course, we need to have broader, interministerial discussion, including by engaging local government, why it is important for us to really, extend or treat the foreign investment. That's why in Indonesia, we also, our approach is always a pro-business mindset. So I think Pak Ilham earlier, has spoken about DEFA, the Digital Economic Framework Agreement. Of course, within ASEAN we have ASEAN Free Trade Agreements, or for the investment we have ASEAN Commercial Investment Agreement, or ACIA. But ASEAN Plus Agreement, I think this is also very important. Not only plus our partners in East Asia like Korea, plus Japan, or China, or Hong Kong, or India. Of course, Prime Minister Modi now is in Jakarta, but I think even to the level of that we are signing FTA or CEPA, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with EU, the European Union, with Canada, and with many other countries. Indonesia even now is a member of BRICS, for instance. Indonesia also on its way to become the next OECD member, and many other things. Basically, what I want to highlight is that for any foreign investors, whenever they do the investment in Indonesia, at least there are two key advantages. Number one, they can easily access our growing and large domestic market. But number two, they can also consider to set up the so-called production base, so they can export their products competitively to the US. And at our office, we welcome many foreign investors asking for this kind of information. I'm also happy to say that on our economic growth, I think we are on track. last quarter we managed to achieve 5.6%, and you see investment is playing a second part right after our household consumption. So meaning not many countries around the world, Indonesia is actually the only G20 countries, in ASEAN. So basically with that, we are confident that we'll be able to play a key role, basically in taking the investment to play a bigger pictures. And now let me also share the so-called Astacitas of President Prabowo Subianto. I think, of course, clearly from mission 2 and 5, you see that the president is putting certain priorities and focus, and that's why the investment, particularly on the downstream industry, and I think talking about downstream industry, which I will be happy to speak later on in the next slide, the key priorities are when it comes to energy self-sufficiency, food self-sufficient, and also the downstream industry. And I'm happy to say that on that, the investment has been projected to, again, to play a bigger role. Last year, for instance, we managed to attract close to $120 billion, which is a double-digit growth to a year earlier. And this year, we hopefully will be able to, reach another double-digit growth of $136 billion, and all the way into 2029. Hopefully, with that, the investment, can play a role to support the so-called 8% of economic target, highlighted by our president. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me share the latest investment figures. As you are aware, every quarter we do the so-called investment press conference where our minister typically will share the latest investment achievement. And I'm happy to say that in this first quarter of this year, we managed to attract a little over $30.2 billion. Some is coming from the FDI, a little over 50%, while the remaining 49% is coming from domestic direct investment. You see also how the Java Island, being the most density populated island in the world, home to more than 50% of our population, is playing I would say a little role compared to outside Java, as outside Java is now gaining more attention. And you see how, top 5 foreign investors, as you can clearly see, Singapore. Yesterday we had the Prime Minister of Singapore. Then comes Hong Kong, China, US, and Japan. Of course, we understand that the investment from Singapore does not, originally coming from Singapore. It may come from India, it may come from Middle East, it may come from Russia, for instance, and so on and so forth. So let me also share the top 10. Who are the top 10 largest foreign investors in Indonesia? Again, typically those countries are always on the top 10. So we always see Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Japan, US, UK, and so on and so forth. But again, don't get misunderstood. Basically, what we want to say is that, throughout the years, we managed to attract more and more investment. And of course, our intention is to, attract the investment into certain sectors. That's why we come up with our 9 key priority sectors, of which number 1 is in the renewable energy, and this is in line with the president's priority, which is the energy self-sufficiency. And of course, I'd like to highlight in particular, things like digital economy and data center. I think Pak Ilham mentioned earlier about the data center, and I'm happy to say that we are seeing more and more investment in data center. Companies like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, STT Singapore, Damak Digital from the UAE, for instance, TikTok or ByteDance from China, and so on and so forth. And I think at the moment, what we want to focus is, again, as this data center requires, huge quantity of electricity, stable electricity, fresh water, and so on and so forth. So I think, again, Pak Ilham, you're right. that basically the issue of the sustainability is also what we have in mind when we want to be able to attract more investment in the sectors. And of course, I'm also happy to share some other priority sectors. For instance, I think most recently our finance minister has shared the intention to create another financial center in Indonesia. So basically, the idea is how to take more value creation throughout the country. And on the downstream, of course, our intention is of all the total 28 commodities that we are having abundantly in Indonesia, we would like to create more value, more employment, and more opportunities. And now, of course, our focus is not on the today's commodity, which is basically the so-called natural resources. All over Indonesia, you see Indonesia is, blessed with rich mineral resources, but we're also thinking about the future commodities, which play even bigger roles in terms of the value creation, value capabilities, and also on how can we, do more to address our limitation on certain things. So basically, we would like to, attract investment in the capital intensive like battery electric vehicle. I think some of you are aware we have two battery makers, one from LG Energy Solution, doing the investment in Karawang, and another one is the CETL subsidiary from China. They are also in the battery makers. But all the way, from the ecosystem, I think is taking a good shape in Indonesia. So the approach is a comprehensive one, all the way from mining into the midstream, all the way into the downstream, including the recycling and also the battery charging station. So what we also want to highlight is, again, of the top 25 special economic zones that we are offering, of course, some of them are, in the industrial SAZs, like the one in, Central Java, East Java, in, for instance, in Riau Island, you see we have digital park. In some of the area, we are also developing another digital park for the SEZ. And I think this number does not stop there. We will certainly add more digital economic zones. And I think we believe that each and every SEZ, particularly for the digital SEZ, it offers not only generous investment incentive, but also the so-called non-fiscal incentive. They offer, world-class incentive. So basically, foreign investors can compare, what we have with the another competitors from other countries. So in addition to the SEZ, Indonesia also offers industrial parks all over Indonesia. We have more than 100 industrial parks in Java Islands. We have more than 30 industrial parks in Sumatra, and the number keeps growing. So basically, we would like to do more. And I think some management, they are also introducing the so-called green industrial park. And I think some of the players, they also want to make sure that they can, do more to attract investment, including, in digital economy and data center. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also happy to share what we do at the Ministry of Investment, working with so many line ministries, to basically make sure that when it comes to getting business permits, things are getting easier, faster, and we introduce, what we call as our single platform by the name of the OSS, the Online Single Submission. Earlier, I spoke with Pak Dedi on the halal, I think business people, how can they basically also get things done when it comes to make sure that the business can, easily get the necessary permits. I'm also happy to say that, again, Indonesia offers attractive investment incentive, not only on the things like tax holiday or tax allowance, but also import duty on super tax deduction. And I think This is the things that we had earlier, conducted our wider meaningful participation when we welcome suggestion from the private sector, from the business people, whether we need to introduce more incentive to certain sectors, for instance. And to conclude, I'd like to basically make sure that when it comes to investment, our office is again is willing to go extra miles. Of the 5 steps of doing business in Indonesia, we will be available in your each and every stage of your investment journey in Indonesia, from the pre-investment stage all the way into the company establishment, applying for the incentive, into the so-called project constraint operation. We will be at your side to make sure that you get the necessary permits, that you get the necessary support from the government. And with this, let me conclude once again. When it comes to investment, we are at your disposal. We are at your service. Thank you very much.